Audio sync
Hello.
in 3, 2, go. Hello, everyone.
What I do.
So thank you for joining us for this time travel
Although, like, one
live
person
stream.
has, because
It
it's right at the
has
start.
been great. It has been great. We are finished now. It's been 2 hours. Thank you very much. I think we'll travel back in time
A
and
bit tired, to be honest. It's almost the next day. It's almost
yeah.
the 21st. And, yeah, wish you prepped me on that gag. Could have had a whole thing going.
I never prep you on the gags, and that's funny because I've been watching our live interviews back because I've been putting them on the Captain Foley personal channel, and they're freaking hilarious.
Live
The
interviews.
the when you were here in Canada,
The Q&As,
remember?
yeah.
Yeah. Quit the Q&As, yes, sorry. Well, they're live because we keep saying they're live because but they're hilarious because it's all impromptu and the way that we just go with the flow. And I'm telling you. So it's been great, guys. Thank you very much for joining. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
But stay tuned for the post-show, which is this.
Oh, yeah. Well, Gmon78 said he came back from the future and said that this was a great live stream. So, yeah.
Thank you. Although I realised when I was thinking about this ahead of time that it's probably worth quantifying time travel stories, because I realised that like the Intermirror is sort of a time travel story, but I'd love to talk to you about actual time travel where the actual framing narrative is someone going backwards or forwards in time, because just parallel universe, like all good things, no one actually goes backwards and forwards in time. That's Q sending as Q. It's not actually the same thing. It's slightly different. You know what I
I
mean?
see what you're saying. Yeah.
So it's sort of, I'll help us focus a little bit on some of the episodes because there's so many great actual time travel, specific time travel stories. But I think it should be fun to. I don't know.
You know one that won't be on my list or won't be talked about? Well, it'll be talked about probably because somebody will bring it up. Because I'm going to bring it up right now.
Threshold. Wrong list.
No.
What?
City on the Edge of Forever because
Yes.
overdone, overhyped. Yeah, it's great. Whoop-de-doo.
Well, the thing about Star Trek is that I like it to be very Star Trek-y. And a great story is a great story, but it's not one you're going to go back to necessarily lots and lots of times to enjoy great Star Trek. You know, with the ships and the tech and the characters, and you can make that in any show and it would work. Pretty much anything, you know? Not for bad things, but it's still a great script, though. Again, Harland Ellison wrote a very different story, so it's like they kit bashed together a different story. So I'm kind of feel a bit sorry for that guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the original one. I have the graphic novel of it. What it's supposed to be, and damn, it's way different. It's more Star Trek-y, that's for sure. I just got word from our temporal agent that this live actually generates quite a few super chats and some good numbers too. So. As far as likes and things go. So guys, you're already like predetermined to do this stuff, so you have to like do that. Super chats are important if you're wanting to get your message read, comment read, or whatever. Direct us as you will. You can be our director and have us talk about what you want us to talk about.
Specific episode,
super chat.
and we'll jump right into the episode.
Or one of the best ways to help us out as well is go over to Patreon. The link is in the description. We got a few Patreon supporters from these lives, and that's very helpful for us. So if you guys are interested and want to help with the channel, please, by all means, check out Patreon.
Yes. I will say, I'm kind of excited because I'm hearing rumbles of Discovery from downstairs. That's a little screening party of some old episodes they hadn't watched yet. And you know, I'm quite excited for this coming week's one, which is... I'm glad there's a Thursday in between for me to do some work, so it's not just Friday, but it's like, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens.
Well, that being said, the trailer doesn't look too thrilling.
I said that last two, though.
I know. And I said, I'm the first to say that I was wrong.
I think Stuart's time traveling right now.
Oh, am I back now?
Oh, Stuart, did you come back from the future, or are you Stuart from the past?
I can't tell you. Like I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Temporal prime directive.
Yes.
The amount of times I wrote that in temporal anomaly is like just that. It's a get out of jail free. It's like it's the line that staff officers should say. I'm going to post so you can vamp and talk to our wonderful audience.
Okay. So, guys, in case you haven't guessed, we're talking about time travel stories today.
Although, why are we talking about time travel, Stuart? What's the catalyst for this travel in temporal of Star Trek's past?
Because we're oh, god damn it. I unplugged myself. There we go. Because I'm pretty convinced that Discovery is going to go into time travel territory with this next episode. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes. So we're talking about time travel because time travel is a thing in Star Trek and sci-fi, and it's one of my favorite things in sci-fi. I really do like time travel stories. They're confusing sometimes, but always fun to go back and rewatch and catch things that you missed. And it's been done in every series. So we thought we'd talk about some of our favorite instances of that here with you guys. And if you guys want to chime in with what you guys think, what's your favorite, by all means, please do so. We'll definitely talk about it.
I want to start off with one that I don't think anyone would ever think of, but I do want to. It just occurred to me as I was posting this that some shows want to talk about more and less. TOS a little bit less time travel, other shows a little bit more, on average. I think an underappreciated episode is the one from Enterprise when Archer and T'Pol are sent back to modern day Earth to stop the Xindi bioweapon. I think it's thoroughly underappreciated. I think it's well written, well framed. It's still sci-fi-y. It's still got cool elements. It's got a good guest star, and it makes T'Pol believe in time travel. I think it's a thoroughly underappreciated episode. What do you think?
And isn't it called Carpenter Street? I believe is the name of the episode.
That's a different one.
That.
That's where her grandmother invents.
No, that's Carbon Creek.
Carbon Street, Carbon Creek. Really? Let me have a look.
Carpenter Street is the name of the episode, I think, or at least that's Carpenter Street is a big part of that episode.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Why is it called Carpenter Street? That's
what?
Weird. Why is it called Carpenter Street? That's weird.
But yeah.
Oh. But yeah, what do you think of that episode then? Because it's a classic simple time travel.
I don't remember too much about it, to be fair. So it can't be that great. I do remember the one actor is one of the guys from the movie Seven. So there's a bunch of other things I remember him from Seven specifically. But
well, if you recall, Temporal Agent Daniels informs Captain Archer that 3 Xindi reptilians have travelled back in time to Detroit in the year 2004, where they intend to produce a bioweapon to annihilate humans. The Xindi Council has banned the use of bioweapons, forcing reptilians to take extraordinary measures. Daniel sends Archer and Sub-Commander T'Pol back in time to investigate and provide Archer with temporal tags to bring back anything foreign to that time frame. And then a guy steals people and their blood to make a bioweapon that targets certain blood groups, and it's kind of creepy and weird, and yeah.
I'd say it is underappreciated, but it's also not one of the best ones. I mean,
no, I'd appreciate it. I think it's a nice thing to call out.
Yeah, I'd need to go back and rewatch it for sure. I just remember the beginning of that one for some reason. I don't remember how it ends. So,
like a shootout in a factory, and on a rooftop as well, throwing the vial, like, oh no, the vial, grab it, that thing.
But they get back to their own time at the end of it, or is
well, Daniel sends. I mean, it's constructed. Daniel sends them back because he's a 31st century agent that can just send people places.
Gotcha. Yeah. Jeff Jacobs puts in $3.
Thank you.
Moderators, I'm dying. I will super chat again after 100 likes, he says.
Oh. 37, so please do like. But it feels like we've been going longer than 12 minutes, but we only have 82 people watching, so it takes a while for people to get in. But why don't you throw out a time travel episode and we'll discuss and why you like it? I think that Enterprise 1 is underappreciated.
I'd have to go with Tomorrow Is Yesterday, where the Enterprise gets flown back in time accidentally, but then realize, hey, there's a formula to this. We can do this anytime we want. But it's cool that they get spotted as a UFO in the 60s. I like that tie-in. interesting episode for sure. Uh, Being able to see the military from the 60s, the way they handled UFOs, the
Mhm.
paranoia around it, and then also the whole going up to the Enterprise and, oh well, you're gonna have to stay because you make no relative contribution. Oh shit, you got a kid later, by the way. Spoilers. Um, and he's part of the Saturn project, or to
Mm.
visit to Saturn. So I don't know. I thought it was really cool. I wasn't super satisfied with the way it ended. How they slingshot around the sun and on the way back beam him into himself, into the plane and
Don't
his
think
memory.
that makes sense, but okay.
Yeah, that kind of sketched me out a little bit
Mm.
because it's like, really, that's your solution to this. But anyway, other than that, it was a fun episode, fun ride, and that's where
Sound
they get the slingshot effect thing for Star Trek 4. So
And I love how in classic we've got no money to really use anything else. Wow, this all happened off screen before the episode started. Look, we've done a massive, big, important thing. Now we're just, in the
and all the lights
atmosphere.
are off on the bridge because of this important thing. So we're saving money on the electricity bill while we're filming this episode too. Oh, everything starts powering back up though. It's fine.
Yeah, it's so cavalier. Oh, we've travelled back 200 years. Moving on. It's like, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but yeah.
Andrew Hendrick
Oh,
puts in 20 Canadian
oh,
dollars.
wow. Thank you, sir. Very kind.
Favorite fun time travel episode for me is First Contact.
Mm-hmm.
Most well done and meaningful. One would be Past Tense Part 1 and 2. Also, keep doing what you're doing. I love your content. Well, thank you very much, Andrew. We will. But yeah, First Contact is a great one for sure.
Yeah.
But as far as big movie time travel ones, I think Star Trek 4 trumps that one. They're like the two best of the two separate crew movies. Or the most relatable. I think a lot of people that don't like Star Trek 4 still.
And you can
So
enjoy First Contact even if you don't know Trek because it's an easy to understand, simple story.
it's like a zombie movie, yeah.
Yeah, it
Zombies
is
in
on movie.
space.
Yeah, space zombies. Yeah, certainly. And Yesterday's Enterprise or the Torrance Yesterday. Sorry, yeah, that's one I remember watching more as a kid than most of the other TOS ones. I don't know why. We just did, and it's a very relatable episode because it looks at TOS from the lens of the time,
Yeah.
being advanced but also being equal in its own way, and seeing Kirk sneak on a base, and it's just fun. It's yeah, and to see the Enterprise in orbit was really fun. I remember at the time when I saw it, and even the '60s effects. It's like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
good
like the
stuff.
whole conversation. What were you doing here? Nothing. What would have happened if we hadn't caught you? Nothing. Well, that's what would have happened. I'm going to lock you up for 200 years, mister. That should be just about right. Yeah. Um, Also, there's kind of a side story in that one. There's usually not a B plot in Star Trek TOS generally, but that one had this side story of what the computers were upgraded by the female inhabitants of this planet. So it had this sassy, computed and recorded, dear.
What was that episode?
Yeah, it's the same
Oh,
episode. So it's a weird tie-in, like,
no weird
because
time.
Captain Christopher's like, this is weird. It's one of those things where the minute something goes wrong in your house, you have company, and it's like, well, usually that's not doing that. Oh, yeah, okay, whatever, sure. Every other day it's fine, but yeah. So that was a funny little side story for that one, and usually you don't get those in TOS. So yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and the Super Chat Mansion mentioned Past Tense, which is the DS9 episode where they go back and he takes over the role of the
oh,
activist
Bell.
Bell. Yes.
I hate that episode.
Really?
Those are two of my least favorite DS9 episodes. They're boring. They're not filmed well, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't enjoy them. Sorry, Andrew.
Well, they're very City on the Edge of Forever. I mean, it's harnessing that, surely, isn't it? It's going back to the past, changing something,
Yeah.
changing it back. All pretty much in that period. Having to lose uniforms. I mean, that's pretty much the parallel, isn't it?
Yeah. Cody Michaels, yes. City on the Edge of the River. Yeah.
I think Past Tense is pretty well written. But it does. I think they knew. Right, we have this. We're committing. We have this city street which exists on a standing set. That's what we've got. We've got these colour of interiors. That's what we've got. And to make the episode feel like we've got a budget, we have to use them as much as we can.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well,
so it feels
the good
big in
thing-
scope, but at the same time small in scope. It's kind of strange.
yeah. The good thing about that one is it pans out later in one of my favorite time travel episodes of all Star Trek, Little Green Men, where they're heading to Earth, and he's like, look at this William Bell, or I forget his name, character. He looks a lot like Benjamin or Captain Sisko. Oh, all humans look alike. So there's that tie-in with that one as well, with the other time travel from DS9.
I haven't seen that one in ages. Didn't know that was a. Don't remember being a reference. It's funny.
Yeah, because somebody gives them the complete Earth history.
Yeah.
So they can study it on the way there, and but that Little Green Men, I have to say, is one of my absolute all-time favorite episodes of Trek. Period, because it's fun. And again, it takes that 1960s approach, just like Tomorrow's Yesterday kind of was made to be modern times because it was made in the 60s. This one takes it back to the same time period, but like the U.S. military paranoia about the you're going to go to the Russians if we don't deal with you, and all this, and it was just beautifully done. I absolutely love that episode.
Yeah, I agree.
Dylan McCullen puts in $10. Thank you very much.
Crazy man.
Just a little something to keep the warp reactors going.
That will help.
Thank you. That will help indeed.
Yeah.
And Michael Harden puts in $4.99. How about then NCC 1701 goes back to see how man survived the 1960s, and they place a special agent with feature tech. That is, I was just talking about that episode. Yes, Assignment Earth. Thank you. That was supposed to be a spin-off series, kind of like an X-Files-esque kind of show that never went anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Gary Seven, who was raised by aliens that were supposed to keep man on track as far as not destroying themselves. Great episode. That one, they deliberately went back in time to the early space launch stuff. Yeah. Odd choice for a mission, but...
Yeah, that one's a weird one because it feels so out of place, because it is 50-60% Gary Seven. Although, even with his lack of personality, he carries it. He's a very underacted character. It's that classic brooding, but it has charisma in that performance. And it's not a bad episode, it's actually quite a good episode. It's just, like, Toss is such a little part of that,
Yeah.
But it's kind of fun to see, like, it's like the spin-off episode, the Saturday morning cartoon episode, the extra random, and this week on Star Trek we've got this alternate. So it's kind of cool for that. And someone did say, Stuart, Necrogubule said, wait, so Captain Foley's favorite DS9 time travel episode is Little Green Men over Trials and Tribble-ations. Stuart, I think you've insulted people that you haven't TOSified the choice there. Stuart, answer.
Did I say
crime.
favorite? I meant I don't think I said favorite. I meant to say one of my favorites.
I think it's one of your favorites.
Anyway, Trials and Tribble-ations is great.
Is it better?
Yes.
Oh.
It absolutely is, because the remastering. That's the reason that they remastered TOS, because they did it. They corrected the footage and stuff for that episode and realized that, hey, this is actually cost effective. We can actually do this for the series. So that's great. And then you've seen our DS9 characters in scenes with the TOS crew is just great. I mean, that is my favorite DS9 time travel one. But Little Green Men is like right there. It's just as good.
The thing about Trials and Tribble-ations, and it's funny you say about the remaster, I mean, those space shots look better than TOS remastered because they're miniatures, but really high-end miniatures.
Yeah.
Like, and it was like anniversary episodes they put the money in, whereas all the masters are kind of like some are gimmicky.
Yeah.
But Trials and Tribble-ations is very much. Well, I love seeing the stuff, the joke line with them in uniform, in TOS uniform, inside the DS9 sets. That's nice, and see them use the tech. It's the fish out of water stuff that's the best, because the story itself is uber simple, and it's not they've gone over reliance on TOS footage, but you lose so much of your own story by losing so much of their story. Like it's a 60% new episode, which is fine. Whereas Little Green Men is a fully committed bit with excellent dialogue. That's a better story and a better acted piece because it is a full episode. Just in comparative nature of the two.
I see what you're saying. But the one thing that really props up Trials and Tribble-ations as well is the fact that the actor that played Aaron Darvin came back. And that was just a beautiful tie-in to why they went to Case 7, because he wanted to kill Kirk.
I mean, don't you think it's a great tie-in that the hippie from TOS's great-great-great-grandfather is a security guy in Area 51? Yeah. Is that
Way to
not...
Eden?
Yeah,
the Way to Eden, the one hippie, his exact same actor plays the 4-star general in Little Green Men, which is two opposite ends of that spectrum. You got the hippie and the warmonger guy.
Be very ashamed of his great-great-great-grandson. No, Trials and Tribble-ations is the whole story about how they got Darwin back is just absurd, but it's wonderfully absurd. That episode is everything came together well, everything came together strong, and they put so much little efforts in. It's and even now you look at the moments where the TOS characters interact with the other ones, and they build a little bit of a corridor, they superimpose it back on, and then they just really excellently done. I mean, for the time as well, thanks to Forrest Gump magic, proved it could be done.
Yeah.
But it's like, pick your moments, pick them to a T. And I've seen some behind the scenes, footage of Dax walking down a completely green bridge, but with boxes where the levels are, and walking down the bridge. It's like, that's what she did. She walked down a green bridge, and the cheapest looking box of bridges. I should go rewatch that clip now, because
it's all you need, man.
It's all you need, yeah.
Super Coops puts in £2.
Thank you.
Back to the Future. Oh crap, wrong show. LOL. Yeah.
Which is your favorite Back to the Future, Stuart?
My favorite Back to the Future?
Yes.
I'd say number 2.
Oh, yay. Good. Yeah, mine too.
Yeah. A lot of people stone you to death for that because it's not number 1, but I love number 2. I think it's fine.
Number 1's a better, standalone
contained
movie.
Piece?
Yeah. Because the pacing is just effing amazing. But 2, the fact that it goes back to 1 and does it so well, it uses the best parts of 1, best parts of 2, and it's a really intricate film. Which is why I don't like 3 as much, because 3 abandons everything and just gives you a Western.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's fun, it's fine, but it's it's a good character piece, but it's compare it to 2, the amount of cool stuff in 2, and then we get 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think it went downhill. But
that being said, I guess we're going to tie into Orville here, because Captain Ed Mercer, played by Seth MacFarlane, also made A Million Ways to Die in the West, and there's a Doc Brown cameo in that. So, yeah, that was beautifully done. And that's the whole Family Guy humor, these weird tie-ins, and I love it. So
that was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful moment.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that guy, he is aging so much, but he'll keep doing them. He'll be Doc if you need him. If you pay him, he'll do it. And it's good for you, sir. You make some good, fun choices.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the movie. I think that movie's underrated too.
I absolutely love it, but I love Seth MacFarlane. Anything he does pretty much is gold to me. So, Ian Warrender puts in £2. Tapestry, Q and Picard at their best, and Q is good. Now, Tapestry is not really time travel. Tapestry is like an alternate future, shown by Q. So, yeah, that one we're not going to classify as our.
Yeah.
But I agree, it's a fantastic episode. Every time I watch that, though, I get so depressed because I'm like, yeah, I'm the blue shirt. I made choices that I shouldn't have made, and could be somewhere else right now. But here I am as a blue shirt. So, yeah, that one depresses me, unfortunately. But it's a great episode.
But no, Stuart, you're a captain. Don't think that.
I know.
Yeah, Tapestry is. I mean, you could argue Tapestry in a few ways. I mean, the fact that Q is basically a god means that, it's all in his mind. He could have just it is meant to be over in 1 second, so it's just all in his mind. It's this journey of learning. So you could take it as literally Q changed the universe for Picard, which is not in itself time travel. It's changed the universe, bring him back to his past self, but the universe is changing, or just it's in his head. So it's a or to show him alternate futures, like you said. So it's
and Necroglobule has a good point. Trials isn't just a great time travel episode, which it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's more. I think it's more a love letter to Star Trek. and to celebrate, the rich history that is Star Trek, and to do it properly. When you're going to go visit a certain era in Star Trek, you call out all the stops and you make it genuinely like it used to be. Because without TOS, you wouldn't have modern day Trek.
And without
I don't know who I'm speaking to specifically.
Without TOS fans, you wouldn't have the money-making machine that is Star Trek. Because they're the ones that paid your way and got you all different shows and...
Yeah. Dylan McCullen puts in $10.
Oh, wow.
Did Kirk ever tell Starfleet that the time travel slingshot around the sun worked? I think he used it again in one of the movies. Yeah, they actually used it in Assignment Earth. They said, using our slingshot effect, whatever, blah. At the beginning of that, we traveled back in time to study this, whatever. So yes, it's a recorded, documented thing in Starfleet. So there's actually a book, which I just finished reading not that long ago. Can't remember the name of it though, but it's talking specifically about the time travel that the Enterprise has done and how the nacelles on the Enterprise are actually tuned specifically to make the slingshot effect work like efficiently. Other ships have tried it and failed, but the Enterprise nacelles were the ones that could do it. And of course, then they worked their magic on the bird of prey. But it's a great little book. I just wish I could remember the title of it.
So you're saying the luck of the time draw with which ship? Just happened to be the Enterprise.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm going through Trials and Tribble-ations and a wonderful hybrid, but I'm noticing a couple of things. Like, I know it's because they use different camera stock, and let me pull them up just because it's slightly interesting, I think.
Okay.
And again, I just think it's the way it was filmed in comparison. I'm going to bring up Premiere.
Well, I'll read Andrew Hendricks.
Yeah.
He puts in $5 Canadian.
Thank you.
I relate a lot to past tense as a social worker. So it really speaks to me. But Trials and Tribble-ations is just awesome in every way for sure.
Which one's past tense?
That's the DS9 one with Cisco going back to Bell.
I mean, I think, like we said before, we like the sci-fi more than hard social commentary a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Nothing against either, but, give us 10 awesome sci-fi stories, we'll be like, we'll lap it up. Give us 10 social commentary and we'll take it or leave it, depending on if we think the social issue's good. So, I mean, sci-fi should be good too, but you know what I mean.
And Caleb Horn puts in $5. The stories I watched the most growing up was First Contact and Voyager two-parter Time's End. Also maybe Year of Hell.
Yes. Well, that's not time travel either.
No, that's just trying to think, what is Time's End? Which one is that? Is that with the...
I think that's with the crazy Captain Braxton.
Oh, yes.
Being trapped and such on Earth. So this I'm trying to put all these visuals on screen just for clarity, although it's kind of then harder to see, but it'll probably show my point. So I'm watching, and this is live reporting. But this is the difference in filming stuff in the 60s and then altering the footage versus modern day. Although, am I right? Didn't they use some actual TOS costumes for Trials and Tribble-ations they pulled out of storage?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, I could have read that somewhere. So by that point, 40 years old, but they definitely used some original stuff. It wasn't just replicas. It was some originals.
I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay, so if you look at, and again, I apologise for the delay, Stuart. Let's turn on Premiere and put that ahead. Right, so in this image, which you will see in a moment, we can see Cisco, as obviously a new clip, because Cisco wasn't looking like that in the 60s. Below him, we can see Odo and a crew member, obviously filmed in the 90s. And then we can see to the right-hand side, filmed in the 60s. And if you look, it appears that because they filmed differently at the time, the TOS gold costumes look like a nice yellow gold, whereas the Trials and Tribble-ations Command Gold look practically orange, and they stand out massively as bright orange.
That's because the original yellow uniforms were actually green. And with the way the velour was it went sideways. We talked to James Colley about this. The velour went, the grain was sideways. I think the remakes and a lot of the things that people get wrong is they put the grain up and down, and it changes the look and feel of the uniform. Plus, the different lighting they had in the '60s with the fabric came out differently. But you're absolutely right. You can see the difference there. There's a more richer orange color to it than the gold from the '60s. So,
and that's just because they actually made that color as opposed to the correct color and lit wrong. So they do it wrong. Like that looks blatantly the wrong color. Like it's actually really kind of bad. But that's because they made them to what they thought. Oops, they'd like them. Oops.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw that as I was going through because they're obviously trying to blend in, which is why I know me and my dad sometimes have the debate. Like he calls them command greens, and I'm like, I mean they are command greens, but if they look gold and everyone and all the future shows use gold, then they're gotta be command gold, even though they were green. But the nice thing though that because he's got green versions, if they film them and on 2S sets and then do some tricks with them, it might then look gold correctly.
Yeah. A lot of people aren't going to believe us that they're actually green material, but they were.
Well, that's what they said. Someone said this other week. You know, Kirk has his green wraparound. It's just a different fabric. It's roughly the same color as the uniforms. It's just the fabric works differently. That's why he's got a green wraparound, because all of his uniforms are green. That would happen to show up as green.
Yeah, I don't even really believe that they were green, to be fair, because you see them in the sunlight, you see them outside, and sitting on the forever and stuff, and it still looks gold. So I'm wondering if the first test screenings of it were the green material, and it looked gold when it came out on the dailies, and they're like, "Damn, that looks good. Let's just make them gold from now on." I don't know, because you know what I mean. Like you see it in different lighting. You see it in natural lighting.
Let me bring up this. I just found another shot from the episode. What's my favorite scene from the episode is them actually just trying on the uniforms at the start.
And Jill's yelling at us. It's fabric, not material. Fabric. So I guess we're gonna. Sorry, Jill.
What? Why is?
Don't hit us.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Why are you doing that?
Okay.
Pixels at Dawn puts in 2 pounds.
Thank you.
Relativity on Voyager is a great story and ship.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll talk about that one a little bit.
Yep.
So this is a shot from earlier in the episode. And again, apologies for the time delay.
Time delay during our live talk about time.
Thank you. As you can see now, when they're on the Defiant,
can't see,
and they're on Stoop. Cause I'm pretty sure they only had a very small amount of the bridge in TOS. They didn't light the bridge like they lit the bridge in the '60s. They lit a full standing set. So it was going to be lit differently to the TOS anyway. Whereas this set shot is lit production-y in context, and suddenly it looks like a very good gold, and actually almost the same tone, whereas the TOS thing on the TOS bridge looks practically orange. What do you think?
It kind of has the green hue almost, actually, with the the Defiant.
Like it looks real good at that color. That's exactly right, but we know it's orange because the one's orange. Weird, eh? It's how you film it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's how you film it. I'm pretty sure I've seen original TOS like 1 or 2 uniforms as well, and they are sort of in between. I don't know.
Yeah. We got another super chat from John Smith, €2.
Thank you. Joseph
Petrick here. I'm not late to the stream. Or am I misreading that? I don't know why you'd be calling yourself John Smith. I don't even know what you're talking about. You're a crazy man. You're just... I'll stop now. Jill Wright puts in $2. Why not Facebook poll, and we'll vote for the best one? I mean, we should do more polls and stuff on Twitter and Facebook, but I hate making them. It's a pain in the butt.
Well, I like that. We should, for future lives, talk about Trekyards, Trekyards fans' favorite ones would be good.
And we're going to mention this now. We're thinking of doing like a super chatter of the month kind of thing. The person that gives the most super chats, not necessarily money wise, but like just participation wise, we'll do a super chat of the month. Maybe we'll keep track, and then they get to choose a topic for us to talk about in one of the lives. That might be a good idea as well. But we're thinking of some ideas to get the super chats more interactive. Jeff Jacobs, one of our moderators, is even offered to have little trinkets and stuff that he has, little cards and stuff that he can send out to people as rewards. So something to think about. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, guys. But
nice.
In the meantime, John Harrison puts in £2. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, brothers. The galaxies shall burn for chaos.
Yes.
Okay.
Makes sense to me.
Are there polls in YouTube? No, there aren't.
No. Well, let's talk about Relativity for a minute then. The Voyager episode, which is one of my favorite Voyagers because I think it's done so well. First of all, it's just a good episode of Star Trek. It is a brilliant pre-title sequence we don't see coming, and it's just great to see. We always love the visuals, but that's Voyager in dry dock, all this cool stuff. That's a really and at the time that was a high-end visual. Like that. And
you see the shipyards on Mars in the background.
Yeah.
And,
Because I mean that was literally there was an original shot planned, and the team was like, "This is no, we need to do it properly." And so they spent like an extra week overtime doing it, and just got in the show because we want to do this extra. They didn't get paid like their proper wage to make that shot, but it's like it looks so good for the thing. And then 7/9 is a great choice. Relativity itself is a beautiful design by Rick. The costumes are a great choice. I remember the Relativity's big screen was 2 big screens, so it was very impressive at the time for being one long, non-projector based screen. That was the whole thing. And then you get to see sort of three timeline variants, and it's just clever. It's a good episode.
Yeah.
And the Braxton reveal is probably a little bit possibly obvious. I think I'm too numb to it now. I can't see the way. I just think it's a really cool episode.
It is a fantastic episode. It is one of my favorite Voyager episodes. I do enjoy the time travel episodes quite a bit. They're the ones I really get a kick out of. And that one actually is funny because it's a lot like Back to the Future too. Going back and forth and seeing the different and it was cool seeing Catherine on her first day on the ship and spouting off the statistics to the admiral, and it was really fun. So kudos for that. That was a fantastic episode.
And they can't have planned it, but by having such distinctive Janeway hairstyles, you can make a prequel episode that easily. She's just in season 1 bun. She's just in this. That's it. That's all you have to do. Which is why when they're shattered, when the ship gets split into different time zones, which is not a time travel episode, it's a weird dimension. Her being in the bun is like, oh my god, the bun's back, and that's all you need to say she's younger. It's gentle, easy, and weird. It was like, Chakotay's just Chakotay. Always at the same.
Yeah.
But no, Relativity is a great episode, and it adds so much to the universe. That was the first time we got beyond the Aeon, which was obviously set up. They had that was actually they used the same tech. It was an expansion of that concept. But to have time cops, which is why I think it's just so weird that for Enterprise. Well, no, continue thought.
That everything gets not fixed by the time police. They should be showing up like all the time. Yeah. Somebody had a question. Does cause and effect count? Because that's kind of like it's a temporal loop. So they are going back in time, but they're not because they're just starting the loop over again.
But they're not, because they say specifically that relative time outside of the loop has progressed. They've spent 3 months inside the loop, so they're not time traveling.
Oh, that's 3 weeks or something.
Yeah, so they're not time traveling. They're just repeating the same moment. They're just not allowed to go beyond a point. That's a weird one.
So I don't know if I would consider that qualified for what we're talking about, because we kind of ruled those ones out.
Although the fact that what was the other ship called that crashed into them?
The Bozeman.
That did travel in time. Technically, that completely did a time travel thing.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to that. So that did travel in time.
Speaking of, let's talk about yesterday's Enterprise. Does it count? Because it travels through an interdimensional rift.
Yeah.
But it goes to the future of its own timeline where it disappeared, resulting in a different timeline. So is it traveling? It did travel to the future, but it didn't travel to its own future. It traveled to the future of the ship disappearing future. Ugh. But they send it back in time to the correct time, so it should count. It should count.
Well, that's the thing. The ship time travels, but the episode is alternate universe based.
Yeah.
So it itself is not time travel episode. It's an alternate universe episode, but with a time travel ship.
It's a time travel catalyst.
Yeah, so it is both.
And solution.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. If you go back, you can go back and solve something before the split happens because you share a common point.
But does that reality where the ship disappeared, does it still exist in like parallels?
Yeah.
Let's say, does it continue on after? It's hard to say because they fixed that. They fixed that specific one, so it's hard to say whether that actually does continue on its own thing. Like, I don't know.
The thing is, that's where Trek is more single universe based. We've got parallel universes, we've seen parallels, but at the same time, there is the implication that timelines reset and fixed because we see it. It's fixed. Well, that's one timeline getting fixed. We're seeing it, which means time is linear, start to end, rather than that's an alternate timeline created. That's the thing. Trek does both. But I would assume that still exists in its own path where the Klingons have a good time. I mean, we suck, but they have a good time. That would have been fun to see in parallels, to see like one of these ships have the same uniforms. It obviously not be it couldn't be. It couldn't be the Enterprise, could it? It could be the Galaxy or something, with some different people. Wouldn't have the same impact, obviously, but yeah.
Joseph Petrick, there he is. I haven't seen you for a while, Joseph. This other guy has been taking your spot. He puts in €2.
Thank you.
About the episode with USS Alzheimer. Remember? I don't remember. I do kind of recall a USS Dementia, but maybe I'm wrong. And Ian Warrender, one of our moderators, says, can you give me time squared? Does time squared count with the Picard from the future that comes back and is comatose until he gets closer to his time, and then you see the Picard's walking down the aisle? Because he travels back in time.
He does. Lots of times. But the thing is, it's a time loop. Sort of.
That's a tough one.
Otherwise, it's multiple alternate universes, or is it one version of the Picard? Again, I think the single element is time traveling, but the story itself is linear because it's the single crew we're following. But the one character is time traveling until the moment when it's important, and then he gets killed. So it's it's like the episode which I actually just watched randomly because I quite like it, where the historian from the future, who's actually from the past, he's time traveling in. That's a time travel story, but he's the only one time traveling. So
he killed the time traveler.
He's still time traveling there. Very true. So yes, probably both time travel episodes, but one thing is time traveling rather than everything's time travel. Yeah.
Yeah. And Dan23, yes, that's what we were just talking about. He said there's a TNG episode called Time Squared with 2 Captain Picards.
And that's a weird one. It almost works. I don't think it quite works for me. You know?
Yeah. It always bugged me how much Picard was kind of like freaking out about the situation. Like he was mad at this other Picard for doing what he did and having his ship get destroyed. It's like, that's you, dude. Like, why are you so pissed? He's trying to fix things, I think. I think that was the premise. But it's like, it's just frustrating for me to watch that one sometimes. But,
well, it's early Picard, isn't it? Before they exactly knew who he was. You know.
True enough.
But someone said, I'd like to see a Marty McFly in Star Trek. Well, hey, check out Star Trek Ghost Ship, or Ghost Ship, a Star Trek fan film, which has a professional Marty McFly impersonator as a Starfleet captain, and he's a wonderful. So please do check it out. Please do. It's
the Avalon universe.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's see. What else did I have written down here? Hold on a second. Let me get my list.
Oh, I like the debate on what's actually a time travel episode and what's not. That's quite a interesting debate.
The Visitor.
I mean,
that's with Jake Sisko. He gets old because his dad went missing
Yeah.
engineering. Yeah, I wouldn't call it time travel. That would be I'd rule that one out actually.
I mean, Cisco is time traveling, as in Ben Cisco is time traveling, and theoretically that is the future, which then they change. Just as Endgame is a future episode where they do change it. So yes,
It's not always cut and dry, is it?
no.
And the next one that I'm going to mention is going to be the same way. But before we do that, we got a super chat from Super Coops, £10.
Ooh,
Thank you.
Thank you. Crazy.
Trekyards and Captain's Log repost is almost time travel. We get past Stewart, and it's fun to see speculation of Discovery before it was released. Great stuff. Yeah, I've been re-uploading those and rewatching them, and I gotta say, damn, some of them are pretty good. I watched 2 today, and I'm like, man, I gotta get back to making Captain's Logs like I used to, because I used to care. I'm just kidding. But yeah, if you haven't checked them out, they're on the Captain Foley personal channel. Go subscribe and watch the re-uploads. But no, the one I was going to mention, which kind of acts as time travel, but not. I'm going to rule it out right away, but I want to hear your thoughts. The sound of her voice.
Doesn't even ring a bell. Hold on.
That's the Deep Space Nine one where they're talking to the lady. Turns out she's been dead for years because her transmission was going through a temporal.
Such a good episode.
It's a fantastic episode.
I mean, the thing is, it's a time displacement episode, but no one is traveling in time.
Just the transmission.
Because that's not traveling in time, I don't think, per se. It's, even though it is, it's going through like it's through the atmosphere and it's doing technical things to it. And because do they still talk to her once they reach the planet and they find her body? Like, does that happen?
No.
So when do they stop talking to her?
When they say they're going to be there soon, and then I think they find out what happened and they tell her, and she says her goodbyes and stuff.
Yes, they do tell her. So
yeah,
but
they know that there's nothing they can do. So,
but the thing is that is a time travel then, because they're giving her information from her future about her past or her present. Again, that's an element of time travel, but I mean, that's a beautiful narrative, I think. Uber simplistic.
Okay, well, I got more that are questionable.
It is not a time travel episode, but there's a time travel component to it, even if it is a singular point.
Yeah. Well, somebody mentioned in the chat earlier, I'll bring this one up first. E squared from Enterprise, where they meet their descendants.
Yeah. Yes, I would say it was time travel, because also the ship meets them in the current timeline. No alternate timeline is created, because they don't affect the prime timeline. Like, they always went back in time to then meet themselves in the present. Do you know what I mean? Like, there is no Ben Cisco future which have to change. They meet their own ship again from the future past. So it is time travel because it's gone back in time and now they're meeting it in the present.
What are you talking about, Ben Cisco? You're talking about Enterprise.
No, I'm just saying, like, that is we see an alternate future which is undone. Whereas in the Enterprise, there is no alternate future. It's still the present, but with a future version of themselves gone back in time, but they're still in the present and they're unaffected. There's no alternate timeline created because they don't affect anything enough to notice.
Next one should be just a yes or no.
Well, what do you think? For E squared.
I think it's a parallel. It's not a time travel necessarily. It's like an alternate reality.
But that makes the prime timeline of Enterprise an alternate reality again, because in their original timeline...
Well, it already is, because the NXO one never happened.
But you know what I mean? That makes... Originally, they were sent back in time. That's why it's in the original timeline. And then it got undone and overdone.
Well, I'm going to say no, though, still.
Okay.
Okay,
I think that's closer than the ladies.
sound of her voice. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's one much closer.
And then the next one should just be a yes or no. It's pretty simple.
Okay. It's boring, but okay.
Far beyond the stars.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
Not even close.
What about Eye of the Needle from Voyager, where they start to talking to the Romulan in the Alpha Quadrant, but he's from the past. Again, it's a transmission going back through time.
Same no, although he does time travel, which is awesome.
Yes, he does. But
again, that's so minimal. I'd say no. That again, very clever episode. I like that one. That's a good conceit. For the technique and the fact that it's Mr. Armstrong again is always good because he's a classy actor, whatever role he has.
What about Azadi Prime?
No, even though that, because also you could argue he's seeing a future which isn't necessarily, because this is a possible future, so it's a possible alternate future or the future, so we don't even know if that is what we. That's why there's some contention as to whether the J is actually canon or not, because it's a possible future, so we don't know.
Yeah, I'd say more or less that I agree that one is time travel, but that's iffy because it's all questionable about the future, isn't it?
Because he probably goes into a parallel possible timeline. Because just the fact that the Xindi never attacked Earth meant that it's all a parallel within a parallel. Because if the Xindi never attacked Earth, then yeah.
Well, Eugene,
welcome back. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, he puts in 750 rubles, so thank you very much. Worst time travel episode, mine's Time's Arrow. Mostly because of the name. I wish it had something to do with the concept of arrow of time. Example, reverse direction of time or antimatter parallel universe. That just made me think of the animated series episode, the counterclock incident, where they go to a different dimension that travels backwards. Not really time travel, but I see what you're saying there about reverse direction of time.
So what do you think of Time's Arrow? The Guinan from the past, although before Kirk's. She gets around a bit.
Yeah. That's the one with Data's head, right?
Yes. And he does go back in time, and he does...
It's definitely a time travel episode, 100%.
But do you like it?
I love that episode. It's fantastic. A two-parter.
It's probably one of my least favorite time travels. I just think it's so forgettable for me. I mean, I never really connected to Guinan personally, so Guinan's story is like, okay.
Yeah, but it's hilarious. Is that a steamer ship? No, it's a starship. Oh, Mr. Data, I gotta cover this. It's like, don't talk about that kind of stuff. I thought it was really well.
Some of it, yes, some of it, but I think just it could have been more interesting. Like overall plot, I think some of the individual stuff's great, but the overall plot could have been more interesting. Like I really don't give any kind of shits about where he goes back, why he goes back, the aliens. Like none of that I care anything about. It doesn't play to me. But the stuff inside of it's fun. Just.
Oh, I really liked it. I really liked that one. So.
Okay, I see. We just were on a couple.
Yeah. Jason 6690 puts in $5. E2 on Enterprise. Enterprise gets sent back 100 years and meets the Enterprise in the Expanse later. Yep. Yeah. Yes. That's a tough one because it can be either. I don't know. This is too hard to talk about.
I
failed temporal mechanics at the academy.
I think it's middle of the road because the entire story is time travel, but it takes place in the present. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the episode in DS9 where the crew again goes back in time, gets forced back in time, makes the colony on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and meets their descendants.
It's half time travel, but it still takes place in the present. So it's a non-time traveling present day episode with a alternate future where they go back in time, which they change. Yeah, they kind of ripped themselves off, didn't they?
Yeah.
DS9, then 2 seasons later, Enterprise. It's like, oh look, we did the exact same thing again, just in motion.
Yep. I'm sure there'll be a Discovery one at some point. Ian Warrender, one of our mods, puts in £2. Thank
Yeah.
you very much, Ian. Third attempt. Yesteryear must be a yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an absolute yes, because they use the Guardian of Forever to go back in time.
They time travel.
Yeah.
Although you've seen Convergence, at least the first version screen.
Yes.
Is that a time travel episode?
Hmm. I'd have to rewatch it, my friend.
Don't remember any of it, do you?
I do remember most of it.
Remember Jim comes back from the future and to stop the dark future? That's all Indiegogo
Oh,
pitch,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
fine
yes,
to
yes,
say.
yes. Yes, that is... Again, that's parallel universe, though. It's parallel reality.
Well,
It's,
it's an original Prime reality. Just like Enterprise, just like DS9, yeah.
I know, but it's splitting hairs. It's hard to say whether that's... Man, I don't know. I would say yes, but at the same time, no.
It's the exact same as
That doesn't help
Enterprise,
you.
I think. Because it's a ship
Yeah.
coming back from the future to help stop the present. So there is future time travel. I've said to you before, but he's still wearing an Nemesis uniform. He's going to wear the Future Imperfect future badge as just the subtle, like, it's still the future.
Mm.
Little reference.
Has anyone mentioned Visionary? Nobody's mentioned Visionary. Which one is that? I gotta look that up.
That is not time travel. Yeah, no, that's where Bashir lives his 70-year sentence. Oh no, when he's been cloned. Like he's been cloned and everyone's against him because he's actually the clone. That one was creepy to me at the time. That
one's still creepy to me because you know what? I watched that one just the other day, and that's how I feel. That's how somebody with anxiety and paranoia.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. That's how somebody with anxiety and paranoia feels about people around them. People are acting strange. People are like looking at you funny. So that one really bugs me for that reason because I do have paranoia and anxiety. So, but yeah, definitely not time travel. Great episode though.
But not time travel.
No. They were doing 2 time travel episodes for Wormhole Wednesday tonight. Wormhole Wednesday? What's that? Must be on Sci-Fi or something.
Well then, let's talk about our thumbnail namesake, Into Mirror Darkly.
Yes.
Time travel or no? Oh, sorry. A time travel based episode or no?
Yes. Because the ship gets pulled back in time as well as into another dimension. Or another reality. So it gets pulled back in time.
From another reality.
I would say yes. 100% yes.
But the thing is, that's the same thing as the Enterprise one. It takes place in their present. And they don't travel in time. I think that's not a time travel story, but it's a half like the other ones. I mean, that is a dimension and a time travel. But just from the context of the art design and it's trying to be a time travel story without actually having to be a time travel story. Like it's a great conceit. I mean, the fact that as soon as I realized, because I knew it was be mirror themed, because I remember watching that. My memory is such that I only remember certain stuff in my life, and so that's why I actually remember watching it for the first time. We didn't have the internet, we didn't have knowing what it was, and so it starts playing. And I'm so excited by the cool factor of the entire sequence, and as soon as it cuts to mirror, I'm like, oh, it's the mirror universe. And it's like, to have a conceit of we're in it, because the DS9 ones never appealed to me specifically, the mirror ones, because we lost the cool stuff with Terran Empire, and it's like, in our universe, it's like, But this one's like fully committed, it's a full mirror alternate show, which you never really get. I just wish part 2 wasn't as, stally. Part 2 suffers from the middle when the Gorn really slows down the pace because they got to do something else. Whereas part 1's full on building. And episode 2, the start's great, the end's great, but the middle, while fun, isn't quite the potential of what it could have been because it had to it was another story
We're talking
thrown
about
in.
In a Mirror Darkly, right?
Yeah, part 2. Yeah.
I would rather only watch part 2. I don't enjoy part 1.
Well,
Once
because
they get on that bridge and on that ship and they're in the uniforms, then it's what I want to watch. So I watch part 2 way more than part 1.
but that's the thing, is the build, because it gets you. Because just
I don't
just
care
seeing
about the
just
build.
seeing them turn the bridge on is like the best moment. Getting to that point, seeing it in dry dock, like, that is the build. That's the money shot, as you were, and that's
But
why
it's the last 5 minutes. You watch the last 5 minutes and then part 2. You don't need the rest of the rest of the episode, in my opinion.
You don't. Still excellent though.
Oh, absolutely. I do love the power up sequence, and that's how you light TOS tech and make it look good, modern. They can't do in Discovery because it
No.
wouldn't look good.
A good art team could do it. It's not difficult. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, my Wolverine claws came out.
Yes. I just think they neutered themselves a little bit because they running out of budget. They couldn't have had this epic, because really the episode needed like them to get to Earth, fight the epic, Terran Empire boss, get down to the planet, and you see a TOS Hoshi now in a full red, or full gold, or wearing, maybe the captain's wraparound, because F it. She's captain now, she's wearing it, that's gender role swap. Awesome. And she just walks into the chamber of the Emperor, phases him with a TOS phaser, and then brings in all of her guards all in red, TOS red. She sits down in a throne, and then that like should have had an epic ending rather than the Gorn stuff, which is fun and it's in the Connie, but I want to see more of like the Connie doing stuff and her on the bridge. There's so little time on the bridge,
Well, I can't stand Hoshi as a character. Oh. I hated that ending. That comply or whatever the fuck she said. Just her attitude. I just wanted to slap her in the face. Like how do you, whatever. You have a ship. Whoop-de-doo.
Very, very powerful ship.
I still can't stand that. That was the end of that episode. Although Mayweather was, I liked Mayweather in that episode. He was badass. He had the cool hair, the widow's peak or whatever it was.
Yep.
And finally, you had some characterization for Mayweather because he was always like a cardboard cutout.
Oh.
Yeah, you're Hoshi. No, sorry, that was a bad ending. That was, yeah.
Oh, I thought she had one of her best bits in that episode in terms of she was given some real time to shine. Thing is, that episode was such an amazing setup to the part 3 and 4 of season 5. They said we're doing a part. They might even do a 4-episode arc, like dedicate a lot of the season.
Yeah.
And then bring Archer back, because obviously he was killed. So you gotta, not let him die. Otherwise you've lost half your leads, like T'Pol and such. Although to be fair, wouldn't that have been kind of cool? Let all your secondary characters be all the leads for a 4-episode arc. Give them all the time, and then you just like other episodes, like the one we mentioned where Archer goes back in time to T'Pol, no one else gets a single line of dialogue. So yeah, give Archer his normal episode, but give the entire secondary crew, because Hoshi with Mayweather and T'Pol and I'm sorry, Trip, and that could have been a fun episode. And then I mean in the book, Shran marries her. She doesn't want to marry him, but it's like a political thing, because then she commands the Andorian navy, and they're the 2 strongest empires out there. The Home Guard, Imperial Home Guard, and that would have been a fun thing to have Shran come in, because he was meant to be a lead in season 5, an actual full-on lead cast member. So that would have worked well if that was one of the plot lines from the book.
Meh.
Okay.
Meh. No sense rewriting stuff. It's not going to happen. So, just talk about what's out there.
Fair enough.
Super Coops puts in £5. Commander, you read my mind. Defiant goes back in time, but not sure it's a time travel episode as such. But it's awesome because it's got a Connie in it. Yeah, I agree. Yes. But it does go through time, though.
Well,
it's not to its own reality, so I guess it's not really considered time travel.
Yeah, it's half. Tough. It's half like the other ones, which is still a time travel themed episode, just not a time travel episode specifically. I think it's like the Inner Light. The Inner Light is not time travel at all.
Yeah,
like it's a vision in a dude's head. It's not Like Shattered. I mean, I'm going through a little blog here. Shattered.
Okay,
Not time
I
travel.
just watched an episode of Voyager now before we started this, and that was one of my favorite episodes of episodes of Voyager. I can't remember
Yes.
the title of it because I missed the beginning,
What happens
but
in
it's
it?
the one where they get locked in the planet's orbit, and the
Yes.
planet is
Blink of
going
an
at
eye.
super speed. It's what's that?
Blink of an eye.
No, that's TOS. But it's the planet's got its own
No, it
speed,
is
its own
Blink of an
thing,
eye.
and once it goes out of that,
It is. It's
is
Voyager
it?
Blink of an eye. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic episode. Is that time travel? Because I mean, the astronaut comes aboard, and then no, it is for them on their planet.
But
Because they're like, when he goes back down, they're like, "Hey, sure you're that guy. Sure that you're that astronaut. But do you finally decide to come back?" I mean, they're looking at it decades later, so it's time travel for them.
the problem is nothing special is happening. Everything is linear progression. They're just out of sync with each other.
True.
Like the Doctor, he's lived 200 years, but he's just lived 200 years. And Janeway's lived 1 second. And it's not time
It
travel.
wasn't 200.
You know
It
what I
wasn't
mean?
200. It was like 20 years or something.
Yeah. Although we had kids. Weird.
You had a kid. It's a long story. Could be adopted.
Yeah, I'm
Could be
sure.
he found him in the wreckage of a abandoned building and saved his life and knew that the parents were dead. I mean, we could go ahead and write another story for that, but no, we're not going to.
But also, real smart episode. Real smart episode. And gentle as well. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Love the ending. Good ending.
Yeah, it's a fantastic episode.
What again? One of the
I
best.
can't wait
of
to
Voyager.
review all these.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, one of the best of Voyager, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. One of the best of Star Trek, concept-wise and idea-wise, I think.
Oh, this must be time travel. Oh, well. Timeless. Voyager, crash lands, blow the uppie. Thing.
Oh, changing your fate. Yeah, let's do that in Voyager.
Yep, a couple of times.
That's definitely time travel.
Is it though? What, who, when is time traveling?
They communicate with Seven.
They do.
And alter the future. So I guess it's not time travel because again, it's a signal going through time, which we've covered a few times now. That's
because it plays it. You see both, but really, it all takes place in the future. Like there's nothing of it in the present or the. You know, like it would have been cool if actually they managed to, like, send Kim back in time. That would have been kind of cool. So then he only has like a minute to save the ship, and he has to actually, you know, input some coordinates, and he has to touch a thing, and the thing fries his brain and kills him. Like that would have been kind of cool if it was like very literal time travel. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that episode at all, so it's not a complaining episode. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like the way it was, to be fair.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying it would have kind of been. Then it would have been definitely time travel.
I mean,
he'd travel back.
There's a time travel element where he gets the message from his future self and watches it because that's from the future.
Yes.
But
yeah, let's go with that.
I wouldn't say it's time travel.
And then at that point, it's an alternate future. Instantly, it's an alternate future because they're changing.
Yeah.
There's so many aborted futures in Trek.
But does that alternate future continue on in another reality like Parallels, where we see all the different every decision you make creates an alternate timeline or that's insane.
Trek does both, unfortunately, but
they're going back and correcting that one specifically. It's like yesterday's Enterprise. Mm-hmm. Does it continue on or is it corrected?
Yep.
It's like I don't even know.
But at that point, then you're destroying a universe.
Yeah, people have been born that wouldn't be born necessarily, and they're having a happy life, and all of a sudden they just don't exist.
And
it's like, wow.
What if though? The problem is, what if in that version of the timeline, some of the kids end up being on relativity, their relativity, and they then protected from the timeline changes by temporal shields. But that can't happen because relativity comes to the first timeline, protected from timeline changes. God, can you imagine how pissed off you'd be if your parents were being killed and unkilled and reborn and unborn? It's like, look, I've been on this crew for 6 months. My parents have died 8 times. We could have fixed this shit with the time travel people. Why am I unfortunate?
Yeah. Well, Eugene puts in 750 rubles.
Eugene.
City on the Edge of Forever is obviously okay. but would you consider Inner Light to be effectively time travel 1? And then he said, update, damn, got my answer while typing, lol. Any thoughts on Stormfront? So Stormfront is
Oh yeah.
Enterprise, where they go back in time, and the Nazis are now, there's alien Nazis and some craziness there. Again, there's no real cut and dry answers with the time travel stuff, is there?
Well, a few there are. A few are just, but when they get complicated. Because this one's
this one,
Sorry, go.
this one I consider no, because it's obviously an altered reality. So,
but it's interesting because they're traveling back into an alternate past. Like,
yes,
like that's weird. It's their timeline that's been pre-altered. They've been saved from the changes, and they are now going back to change the past to ensure. Because Daniel's, 31st century, you got time tech that can, they're seeing timeline as a fixable thing, but do the events in that episode still happen? Because they can't World War II, can they?
No.
No. So by destroying the time device, to stop them from ever going back. Although Enterprise still knows what happens and damage still happens. So I think it's still time travel, because that was still... Because by the definition of the game we're playing, their timeline, Enterprise timeline, becomes the alternate timeline for a few hours, for a few days. The Nazi one takes over as the prime timeline, and they then rechange it. So then Enterprise is now coming from an alternate timeline themselves, back in time into the prime, which they're then fixing, and then being sent back into the back altered prime again.
Stormfront, that history is the history for Man in the High Castle.
It is, yes.
I'm calling it right now, because they've already invaded America, and they've got the White House, and they've got the West Coast, and the East Coast, sorry.
And, having seen the episode a few times, seeing what they did of NX flying over New York City, that's a really amazing set of effects they did at the time. Like, Pierre Droulet, who built the city, he always overbuilds things because he loves what he does, and he really built an amazing cityscape that, in atmosphere stuff is horrendously difficult. But that time even harder. On a TV budget, they achieved some amazing stuff in the episode. I don't like most of it, but that's not the point. They achieved amazing stuff, But I think, the fact that it's at the
Joseph
end...
Petrick puts...
What, I like the fact that it's the end of the Temporal Cold War, we get sort of an end to it, like they're the last faction, all that stuff. But I don't like the episodes particularly. I think it's a weird set of episodes to me. But,
yeah,
that's me.
I do too. Introduced where they go down to, oh, we've stopped the thing, let's go down in the shuttle pod. Oh, we're getting shot at by P-51 Mustangs. Sweet. And it's like, dun dun dun, season finale.
Yeah.
Joseph Petrick puts in €2.
Thanks, Joe.
Carpenter Street, was it called, I think, from Enterprise? Yes, we've already talked about that. I think you missed it. Your alter ego John Smith must have been here instead. But yes, we did talk about that one.
And that is time travel, because because they don't change anything. Because the fact that Daniels stops them before they actually cause an incident in time means it's still the singular timeline they came from. But Daniels is just so efficient at seeing it that they sent them back before. So, by the time they got to that point, it'd already been fixed by Archer, so Daniel knows that. So it's not a non-change point in the parallel universe-ness of the thing.
Yeah. Have we talked about the one? I think we have.
Okay.
Maybe not. Which is the Voyager one where they go back to 1996 and meet Sarah Silverman?
We did. Yeah, we did vaguely, but we didn't really talk about that. Future's End. Future's End Part 1 and 2. That one's a mixed bag for me. What do you think about that one?
Kind of convenient they went back in time, but also to Earth. It's like, oh, that's nice. I really enjoy that one, to be fair. There's a lot about it that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with it really. I don't know. I like it. It's again one of my favorite Voyager episodes.
Yeah, it's got a lot of good humor to it. Like it knows what it's trying to be. Although now, same thing. So it starts with in the future, Voyager destroys Earth, and Braxton comes back to destroy Voyager, but they mess that up, and get sent back in time to the point before that. So already there's an alternate future point in the future, so they're trying to fix. But then the 20th century tech is used by the what's his name? I'm trying to think Branson, but Richard Branson.
No, Starling.
Henry Starling, yes. But is that now the actual prime timeline? Because they don't go back and stop him from using the tech.
Well, it has to be because that's what invented our tech. Yeah, our computers and cell phones and shit.
Does that mean it was always going to happen?
Yeah, it was a predestination paradox. Had to have happened, but they fixed it, and they couldn't go back and change it, stop it from happening because it already had happened. It's a fixed point in time, as Doctor Who might say.
But are fixed points in time okay if previous events in time are changed? Does that mean that every fixed point that changes time changes time? Doesn't change time?
I have no simple answers for you because I'm not God or a god of any kind.
Although I did read a comment earlier saying the fact they ignored the eugenics war was a huge mistake. Thoughts on that? Because they don't reference, the Third World War, eugenics war. It's very much just Earth.
Well, I mean, it's been explained in multiple ways over the years that the events of the eugenics wars did in fact still take place, but they were kept very secret. They weren't wide-scale destruction on a massive level, continent-wise. It was all stuff that was happening overseas that was masked as like regular military operations. Not every the other units were doing, so it was taken care of quietly. But yeah, the whole launch. But they do tie it in because in Sarah Silverman's desk, there's the Botany Bay with the launch set up with all the rockets underneath it in its launch configuration as a model. So they did mention the eugenics wars kind of off in the background.
That's true.
That is tough, though. That is tough because that was the same year of the, yeah.
Well, that's the joke about Trek isn't our universe. It can't be. Too many things happened because it was invented in the past. It's like Space in 1999. Oh yes, obviously that's not set in a present time of reality because guess what? They never went to the moon base that time. Like it just didn't happen. So therefore, it's not our existent timeline. That's just fact. And so Trek, we never had these things. Even if 1999 looks relatively similar, we never had this tech giant called Starling invent the processor. Therefore, it can't have been the reality of life. So it's daft to say it's a look at the future of our timeline. It's like, oh, so can you show me Starling as Man of the Year in Time magazine? No? Okay, guess what? Trek didn't happen. It always makes me laugh that people think it must be us. It's like, it's its own thing. It's our own... it's its own timeline, like Battlestar Galactica, its own time. Well, that's meant to be our timeline, but it's its own thing. And Farscape, it's all like it's just an alternate version of Earth. It's fine.
Well, the best thing about time travel with Star Trek is the fact that it created Star Trek. If you look at the technical manual, the Francesca technical manual, the first page is a letter, a transmission that was intercepted. I should actually go get it and read it because Gene Roddenberry got this information and he created a whole show based on the information that technical manual, the ships, the uniforms. He created Star Trek based on that. And so there. Eugene puts in 500 rubles.
Thank you.
I've typed Stormfront while I was thinking about Shockwave season 1 finale. I love time travel in Enterprise because it added a bit of mystery unknown to it. Thinking about Shockwave. Which one is Shockwave? That's a transformer, but Sullivan, True hostage will trapped
Oh
in
yeah,
the 31st century. Yeah.
Yeah, when Earth gets destroyed in the future because of events in the present.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
alternate future.
well, we talked about alternate he did travel to the future, so sure.
But was it our future? Was it that's the thing.
It was the one that was supposed to be our future, I guess. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because no, it was changed. I don't know. Oh my god.
And the fact that he could do that shows that time is one line that gets changed as you go. If you can keep changing it or not changing it, otherwise that'd be an alternate universe, and they'd say that. And I don't even
I was
like.
saying that.
Right.
Oh, it's just the chat saying the eugenics wars was retcon later into the 2080s, wasn't it? Maybe wrong about the date. And then Stan23 says they may have given it a different time, a different date for the eugenics wars in Deep Space Nine. And in Discovery, the Church, World War III, that's a 2083. I think it's the year they said for that, something like that.
Yeah, the problem with that though is that it still doesn't like they still said the dates the first time round.
I know.
Like,
it could
just let it be an alternate timeline. Like, because once we get 2083, what you have to retcon Discovery and say, oh no, in 2183, and then it's like, no, but that's 10 years past Enterprise. It's like, oh, shut up. You know what I mean? You can't keep doing that. Just don't. I don't know why people insist it has to be our life pushed forward. You know, doesn't make sense to me.
Does not compute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Enterprise was a weird show. I'll summarize with that. I think what other time travel ones? Are there other TOS ones you can think of?
So Simon Earth, yesterday. City on Edge of Forever.
Might not be that many, actually.
There's not that many.
Although, if you want to be very literal, could you say that Khan time travelled? Put himself in stasis, woke up 200 years later? Did he time travel?
No. That's a hard no.
I mean, he didn't age. Like a bloody flawless cryo
Well,
freeze.
he aged. He aged very slowly, but he still aged, so no.
Well, I guess because they were superhumans, they said they didn't age much relative to humans, so they look the same, even though they aged, but not much. Yeah.
And Joseph Petrick says, this stream is a time travel episode. I'm 1 hour before Samuel and 5 before Stuart.
Yes. Ah, well, question then. Is Star Trek 2009 a time travel movie?
Oh my god. Yes.
Yes?
It's the same thing as In a Mere Darkly. Travels back in time, but lines up with a different reality when it come out.
But they specifically called out that, well, Simon Pegg said it was alternate from the start. So then they moved into an alternate timeline rather than...
But that's because of the events of First Contact. Because the Borg had already crashed on. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and they also said that because if it was like every other episode of Star Trek where you fix the past, if you break the past, you fix the past, whereas the fact that Spock left the past and became its own alternate reality, that's not what happens in every Trek episode. They always have to fix it. So it can't have been, otherwise Kim, otherwise the job is to go fix whatever. Because otherwise that means that when Kim does send the signal, he sends it to he creates an alternate timeline, and therefore what we see in Voyager is now the Voyager post-timeless timeline, like the Kelvin is a Kelvin, If '09 can exist as a concept, then every single episode of Star Trek creates an alternate universe. That does create an alternate universe. Every single time, and we haven't had a prime timeline since... Well, certainly Jeffrey was to fix it, I guess, but since early TNG, I guess. Would that be an interesting experiment to go back into chronological Trek and see the change points, and then say, all right, how many alternate universe are we actually in? Because as soon as the whale probe happens, no, that isn't changing time because that's fixing the present. That's not changing. That's a little bit different. What would be the first
Raises
time?
the question: does tomorrow was yesterday? Means they see the UFO for a second, and then when he gets beamed back, it like immediately disappears. So he had seen it, but he's one of those people that saw a mysterious UFO and had no explanation for it, as they said. So, but could that ship design be in his head, and he drew it down, and his kid found it, and his kid passed it on to his kid, who inspired the designer of the Constitution class ship to, hey, look at that, dun dun dun, because they do a description of the ship.
Yeah.
They send that back, and
but we've said that we think time can sort of realign itself for small
reset
things.
itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me go back.
Finds a way to. It's like a river. It finds a way to flow back to its source.
Let me go back to TNG and actually see, because when is the first actual time travel alternate time story? Because TOS there really isn't one, because they always fix the timeline rather than they don't ever like change it actively.
Well, it brings up a question though. In Mirror, we go to the alternate reality.
Yes.
And they're using older style ships. So are they younger versions of themselves? Like, is that kind of semi-quasi time travel? It doesn't really make sense with the characters though, but
Younger versions themselves? What do you mean?
well, the ship's an older style Constitution class ship, so maybe they're a few years younger, maybe it's older tech. I don't know. I'm just trying to throw out some ideas. Shut up.
That's a big spanner in the works that you like threw into the works. I was like, wow.
Yeah, well, I was thinking of the tech as I said it.
Yeah.
And I thought, wait a minute, that doesn't work because the characters are there. But
yeah. Let me go through, because TNG season 1 didn't have time travel.
All of our yesterdays in TOS is a time travel one where Mr. Ataz, and they each go back to a different time, but on this specific planet.
Yes.
Kirk.
Yeah, that's time travel, but it's past. But then going back to your own past. Oh dear.
It's not their past; it's that planet's past.
But it's still their past of them, just not where they were. It's still, it's everyone's past. I mean, it's their past. It's not an alternate universe. It's their past, just of another alien planet.
Yes.
There isn't many time travel in early TNG, is there? So I'm going through season 1 and 2 and I can't find any.
My brain hurts.
Yeah. So when was the first alternate reality created? If JJ can do it, then it has to happen for everything. You know? And is Q... Well... Yeah. Future Imperfect? That's a fake future.
Michael Cursed, I love that. What if picking up the whales in the past initiated the decline of the whale population?
Yeah.
Well, it's something that had to happen because that's one of those predestination things, because the whale probe had to show up for them to go back in time to get the whales to decrease the population. Oh my god. Oh man. Any favorite time travel episodes in Star Trek Online?
I mean, I like the one with the SS Enterprise sequel. I thought that was very good. That's kind of the big one.
Mm-hmm.
The one where you go back to Nirvana Station's fun, but I mean, it's the problem with that is it's all combat based, so everything is go back and kill people, go back and kill things. It's not like you can't just do. Otherwise, if you make a level and you're just walking through it, then that's the end of the level. You do it very quickly. The shooting stuff makes everything last longer. So, yeah.
And Bill Barkley, Voyage Home, transparent aluminum, alternate. That invented it. He said it would take years to master the Matrix. Whatever, that's fine. Or there's another theory too that a week later that guy got killed in a car accident and didn't share the information with anybody.
Yep.
That's one of those time will correct itself things.
Yep.
If time knows something's messed up, it's going to be like, die.
No, I think that's
so
that's a great example. Yeah. And then times arrow, and then chain of command, tapestry. I don't think there's any. I think the first time travel where they change the future might actually be all good things in TNG. Because there is a future.
The only one I can think of would be Future Imperfect. It's obviously not a real future, so it's just not even a holodeck. It's a alien simulation.
But the thing is, in all good things, is the future we see? Isn't that just an alternate future that Q shows him, and then sort of manifests in reality enough to be able to help? Or is that
tough to say,
actually the future? Because if it's actually the future, then really by just all Picard did was destroy the anomaly, right? And know what happens very slightly in the future. So why does the Enterprise then get destroyed in Generations? Do those two small things affect time that much that Generations happens and the D doesn't become refit? You know what I mean? Nothing happens enough to change the All Good Things future. Just because Picard knows he doesn't know the next 20 years. So Generations can't have happened in All Good Thing in that alternate future, and all these things to get to refit Enterprise D, you know?
Mm.
So is it really the future? Is it just an alternate universe future? Is it just a, but since Q lives outside of time,
it's a possibility one. It's not a real one, I don't think.
Yeah.
QU1NNC, have we discussed Little Green Men yet?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, and Jeff Jacobs says, "Come on, guys, 7 more likes. We need 4 more likes. In fact, 96 likes. We need 100 at least for some nice things to happen. Come on, 146 people. Please like the video. Thank you so much. 96. Come on. Beep 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 beep. Push like button. Boop beep 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 beep. Yes."
Super Coops, does that mean if Scotty never told that guy how to make transparent aluminum, he wouldn't have been killed when the timeline corrected itself? So it was still an alternate universe. I mean, it's a possibility, but it could also be that he was destined to die, and Scotty Scotty, the time made Scotty go to that place. I don't know.
The thing is,
knowing that it wouldn't matter.
If Scotty's smart, he would put a virus on the computer to delete the information.
Or not even a virus, just one of the molecular things wrong, so that it would take so long to figure out what was wrong with the formula. You know?
Well,
computer virus might make a good idea.
I just mean that he can't possibly remember the formula. Like, however much this guy is a genius at what he does, he'll memorize some of it, but he'd know the direction, but he wouldn't be able to necessarily replicate it, and it might take him those 20, 30 years. But that's a really subtle one. And the fact they do go forward in time, and it looks the same, means that even if there were changes, it's close enough to the time they came from that they didn't notice.
Problem is, when you go back in time and you come back forward to your time, something's going to be different. We saw the best example of that was Treehouse of Horrors, where Homer goes back in time and steps on a mosquito, and then has to go back and keep trying to fix things, and it's like, fuck, this is close enough. Because it's like, whatever. Well, reading an air molecule might.
The fact they kidnapped Gillian, whatever her name is, the aquabiologist. I mean, she's gonna have impact for the next 60 years of her life, with millions of people. If you break it down, I mean, she might have had kids. I'm sure she would have had kids. That was certainly even more the norm then.
I think that was a destiny thing. She was supposed to go forward in time because, that's funny because the other day on Facebook I saw a wanted poster for Jillian, missing marine biologist, age.
Yeah.
Last seen going on a date with.
To an Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
But you could probably argue that was the first parallel universe, but the fact that it was so close and none of them noticed, that it was it was a parallel universe in that a single choice is made, but it all filters down to a similar thing. That ripples weren't big enough. But that's probably the first alternate universe created of any great measure.
What about when the bird of prey lands and this garbage man are talking about his wife having a fight with his wife, and then they get freaked out and they go home early? I didn't see anything, and neither did you. I mean, they must have told somebody about that, and they went home early. So did that affect? Did he catches his wife cheating on him because he went home early, and then he killed that guy, and then that guy. I don't know. You can get dark. You can get dark with the smallest little thing.
Oh no, he comes home and he finds his wife cheating on him because he's come home 10 minutes early. And then he hunts down that guy. And, oh, sorry, I heard the kill bit, but didn't hear the cheating bit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he shoots him like right then and there or something.
Yeah.
And then he shoots his wife because they just had that argument earlier about a toaster.
Any super chats for killing a cheating husband? Well,
we got Jeff Jacobs for $5. Nice job, guys. 108 so far. Keep it up. And I think that Latent Image Voyager is a time travel episode for sure, and a great one. Latent Image.
It's Google.
That I gotta look up.
Really? I don't think it would be. Although my voice is getting very high there.
Oh no, this isn't one. It might feel like one to the Doctor.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not. It was just they had to delete his memories and so he didn't go crazy.
Yeah.
So no. 100% no, Jeff. You are wrong. You're now fired from being a moderator because that was the stupidest thing I've ever read. I'm just kidding. I love you, Jeff.
Orcs. But throw some more time travel says us. Let's see if there's any more. Before and after. Again, Voyager. Says Dan 23. That sounds like a time travel episode. Yeah, yeah. Where Kes goes to multiple time. That's interesting. I mean... But the problem with... I mean, you remember the episode, don't you, Stuart?
Yes.
Kes goes down her own time stream. The problem with that, though, is that because we see alternate futures, it's alternate futures, not... You know, stuff's undone so quickly with it that it's kind of... Well, I like that in a Memory Alpha it says Year of Hell Part 1. You know, I love that. I love the Krenim and having it all linked in that early on. And even the ship, you know, I love that, you know.
I think we've timed out on this topic.
That's so much.
It's been a good discussion. Yeah, it raises so many questions.
Yes. Lots of good stuff. And a good summary, there's lots of good time travel episodes. Lots and lots of good ones. And I think Trek should be given a lot of credit for some of the best time travel episodes, because I think they have got some of the best time travel episodes.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to talk to Rob Bonshun at some point and see if you know the answer to this, because it's always confused me, and it links to this Kes episode specifically. If she sees the Krenim, and you see a Krenim ship, I mean, there's a picture of a Krenim ship firing a torpedo, and they fire all the same torpedoes and all the same stuff. So do they know they were going to do the Year of Hell arc the next season, and say, can we design a cool time ship first? Or did they say, screw it, we'll do it again and reuse the asset, and then build a second ship? You know?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm distracted.
I can tell. What do you think, Stuart? Sorry. Yes or no?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Need to talk to Rob about that anyway. He would know.
Ian Warrender puts in £5. LaForge did find it difficult to execute himself from the new card games with Picard. What? Try that again. LaForge find it's difficult to excuse him from the new card game with Picard inspection that could have saved the Enterprise in Genera. What? I'm so confused. In Generations.
Are we in an alternate timeline now? Where this happened?
We must be. Because I've never been confused once in my prime time. So we must be.
Oh, and Card Galaxy mentions another good episode where Arch loses memory every couple of days, whatever, and he...
Yes.
And in the future, But then they change they undo him, which then undoes the time. It resets him back to his previous self. I love the episode, but it's a weird one.
Yes. That would make time travel.
Although, yeah, well, no one travels in time because there's both present and singular future. He just undoes the... Cause he doesn't remember the future, does he? Like Archer, he doesn't remember it when he gets... Yeah, so it's just he undoes the event, but there's no like consequences of it per se, except we get the great sense of... Is this another good alternate future episode? Yeah. Okay, guys, so any final questions or things you want to talk to us about for the last few minutes of this live? Certainly a long old debate one here.
It's a good conversation to revisit, though, because really you come up with new stuff every time we talk about it. So
Yes.
Eugene puts in 250 rubles. We'll always have Paris. TNG, not Voyager pun. That's not time travel.
Yes, it was. That was the episode with the fracture in time, and data was multiple.
Well, that doesn't fit our definition of time travel, though, that we've been talking about.
I also got the answer from Memory Alpha. Apparently, Year of Hell was meant to be the season 3 finale and season 4 opening, and so they wrote it knowing they were going to go there. But then they had to bring 7 of 9 to the replacement of Kess, and they put that as a season finale to introduce that. And then the next season they moved it to mid-season, but then now they had 7, not Kess. That's why they're in the exact same scene, because they just swapped characters.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's actually, but it creates a wonderful sort of accidental 2-season continuity. And actually made the episode cheaper because they got a Krenim warship without having to design it for that episode and have it built. Cool.
Yes. Super Coops puts in £5.
Thank you.
Voyager episode when the ship is fractured into different time zones. I can't remember the title. Seska was a bitch. She's always a bitch. And that is Shattered, I believe.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite Voyager ones.
It's a fantastic episode.
It's very smart, you know? Oh, I love...
DS9 times Orphan. Ooh.
Is that the one with the people on the...
That's the one with Molly. No, it's one with Molly. Where they leave her on the planet and then they find her older.
Yeah. That's interesting one. But they undo that future as well.
It's good corrected. Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I would say there's time travel involved for sure. Joseph Petrick, €2. I'm getting a headache. Sylvia, hi. Show me your pretty face.
I look like a hideous piece of garbage.
You do not.
I feel like
She just got home.
Hold on, 5 more bucks, 5 more American US dollars, and Sylvia will I don't know, maybe you'll see. Roll the dice, $5.
So Samuel's whoring out my wife and saying $5 more and she'll show her face. There you go. You guys have heard it live here.
You say it all the time, though.
I'm only wearing a tank top.
That's fine. So yeah, Keiko was underused. No, Keiko was used just enough because I hated her.
I mean,
she was always too complainy and whiny.
Well, in terms of secondary character, she got a lot of time.
Yep.
You know, and I mean, most obviously, anyone from Voyager would be like, "Damn, she got to be in 2 of the shows, and got married, and had 2 kids, and got side stories, and got to be heroes." I mean, development terms, she got lots, and the actress got to be regularly employed as a side character for like 14 years, or like 11. That's cool.
14 minutes of screen time, maybe.
And I actually bumped into actress once at a botanical garden in LA.
Ooh, ironic. By botanical garden.
Yeah.
Botanist.
And I was much younger, and I knew I recognized her, I knew what she was from, but I didn't have the guts to say hi. But she was kind of walking away at the time. So it's kind of like in my mind, I remember seeing her. But I'm like, not that DS9 was on, but like we'd seen the show recently. I was like, oh, it's Keiko. Almost said hi though. Almost.
Jill Wright. Jill Wright says, Samuel, urgent. We need questions for Christopher Judge about window of opportunity in the next 5 minutes.
Oh, did he actually get hit in the face even once accidentally by the slamming door? What was his favorite time travel thing? Was there any ones he suggested that was underused? That wasn't used? Did he ever ask to kiss anybody in a time loop thing? There you go. There's
Who
four.
are we talking about?
Christopher
Judge I know?
Tilk from Stargate.
Oh, that Chris Judge. I thought you meant Irish. The Trek Collector or whatever.
So I guess he's doing either AMA or a live somewhere? Yeah, he's doing a live in 15 minutes.
Yay.
Yeah,
Michael, we already
40
talked
on
about the sound of
Stoke.
her voice.
I guess I'll join that live from this live. There you go, Jill. Lots of comments.
Yeah, Raj, Children of Time. I need to talk about all those, so.
But yeah. Well, hopefully you guys like the Convergence time travel story. And you know, as I said before, Stuart, my only limitation is like having no actors. You know, if I had really good actors and I guess costumes, you know, and if I, you know, if we do 5 actors near where you are, because there's also locations where you are, we go for a time travel fan film. You know, easy, quick, simple. You know, but it's just stories are easy. Getting them done is hard, even with simple production phase.
Yes. Another super chat. You want to read that one? Yes, you do.
Sure. Eugene! Objection! We'll always have Paris definitely... Paris definitely has time travel, non-linear time travel. Always have Paris. Okay, that's a reference to something specifically. Do you remember the reference?
It's the name of an episode.
Oh, right.
It's the name of an episode.
Oh. Well, that would help. There we go. That's not got time
And
travel
all I
in it,
remember... What?
It's not got time travel in it, surely? Has it?
Well, yeah, the Iconian Gate things and 3 different datas.
Is that an Iconian gateway? What? Don't remember that having be Iconian? I remember 3 datas because I remember there's a blooper reel of him laughing at that.
Yeah.
Iconian?
Let's see here.
Yeah, I've only seen some of TNG once. We'll say goodbye.
Yeah. Refresh.
Just happens sometimes. What can you do about it? Nothing. Anyway, guys, Stuart will see you tomorrow night for Discovery First Reaction. Then we'll see you Friday night for Discovery Full On Review ×2.
Yes.
And then I'll go to London on Saturday and Sunday, which is not relevant to this conversation. Then we'll film with some guests next week, Stuart.
Yes.
And have fun times in between, hopefully.
Yes, and hopefully no travel.
Well, I mean, it could be fun.
Well, I'll be traveling back in time every time I re-upload a captain's log and check it out. And you guys should do the same. Go over to my Captain Foley channel, watch our old Mission American, Mission Canada videos, and where we're hanging out together. But that's how we're going to end this, because time travel. Bye, guys.
I wish I could just start the stream over again, like as a loop. That would have been fun. If that was an ability you could do. And then just have like a 12-hour stream with the exact same conversation again.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
I mean, you can download it and then edit it together into like one massive...
Oh, and just keep re-upload it to a 12-hour one. That could actually be kind of fun. I might do that, actually. Trekyards time travel episode. Okay.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.